Hi, I'm Rick Mercer. Welcome to another episode of Around Town. This week we'll take you inside the Garner Police Department to learn more about a fitness program implemented by Chief Brandon Zudema. Then we'll show an educational segment provided by NCDOT about the I-40-440 project dubbed Fortify. Let's go now to Chief Zudema and some of the officers in the Garner PD.
So when I got here, we began to have discussions about the fitness of our officers and the dangerous job that police officers everywhere, including Garner, do. And I had the opportunity to potentially make some change that I'd not had a chance to do before. Coming in as the chief, you get to make some of those kind of decisions. So we began to talk as a group, and we decided that it was not only the right thing to do, but it was something that we needed to do. If you look at the work that these officers do day in and day out, it's dangerous work, and we want them to be safe, and we also want to be professional. And the more fit you are, the more prepared you typically are to do your job, to meet your essential job functions, and of course the better you look not only to the public, but you can present a more positive image. You can present yourself not only to the citizens who need help, but perhaps the folks that are not doing the right thing, and present them with an image that says we're serious about what we do and you need to obey the law and obey what we ask you to do. So primarily from an officer safety standpoint, and then also from a professionalism standpoint, we felt it was important to encourage and support and help our officers grow as a group towards being more fit and better prepared.
Well, actually, as soon as I started here, the chief had basically had the program in the works, and I thought it was a good idea because you go through the police academy, you're required to do certain tests in order to be certified as a police officer in the state, and implementing a plan or a policy like that, I think it just continues the whole mindset. Physical fitness for your career should be required. It shouldn't just be like, hey, you pass it once and you're good for your whole career, because obviously a lot can happen in 25, 30 years. So I'm a big advocate of the policy. You're 21 years old, you start the police academy, you do it in under 720. You're 52 years old or 51 years old, sitting at retirement, you still have to do it in that, because a 51-year-old man or woman should be held just as accountable as going out and be able to do almost what a 21, 22-year-old can do out on the street. Because if my life's in jeopardy, I don't care what age you are coming to help me. I just care about you having the ability to be able to help me out.
I said, it was a struggle at first. When the chief first brought it out, the mental struggle was there, but slowly but surely we started seeing the body shifts of people dropping weight. You probably spoke to the people that have gotten the surgeries. If it brings you down to what you need to do, I'm all for it, and especially brings you a more healthy lifestyle. And I think most of the people's mindset there is that everybody's going to eventually start to do this throughout the state, because it's a good benchmark to have. And our job, quote unquote, we're tactical athletes, so we actually had to have some kind of athleticism to us. And the thing about law enforcement is that we, as opposed to military, Tony Blauer said, the military trains and trains and trains and rarely fights, and police officers fight and fight and fight and rarely train. Where, very rarely do soldiers get out there and get in foot pursuits after sitting in a car for 4 or 5 hours. And being this level of fitness is where, it leads you into being able to overcome that sedentary lifestyle and the sedentary part of our job. And I believe that's what most of these other chiefs believe as well.
So one of the things in implementing this program that we wanted to make sure that we did was to have everyone involved, and that meant beginning with me and going through me and all our sworn personnel to our newest officer. So we all have the same ultimate responsibility, which is public safety in Garner. So we wanted to make sure that those of us that were implementing this were also leading the effort in terms of physical fitness, making sure we were meeting and ideally exceeding the standards to set that example and show others we weren't asking them to do anything that we wouldn't do. do. And we've had a tremendous response from our command staff and other supervisors that I think have set some incentive and set some goals for other officers to join in and be supportive of the program.
Well, for me personally, I've been with the department for 23 years now, and the only time I really worked out or ran prior to now was when I was in the academy 23 years ago, and about 10 years ago when I was in the National Academy. So when we began talking about developing a fitness program for the department, I knew at that point I was going to have to get back into that routine. So currently, when I first took our departmental fitness test, I did not finish it. I did not finish the test, I was unable to complete it. So I took advantage of some health work programs that the town of Garner had offered employees as a whole through Rex Wellness Center. Participated in that, ended up losing about 40 pounds through that program, and then started working. I did the Couch to 5K program to try to build up my cardiovascular strength. Currently, I'm working out 3 to 5 times a week, running about 10 to 15 miles per week on the treadmill. So I think I'm actually in better shape than I probably have been at any point in my career other than fresh out of the academy. I guess personally for me, especially in my position as deputy chief, I think it's important that the command staff or leaders in the organization, you're going to have to get out and talk the talk and walk the walk. You can't just come out and say that we're going to implement this fitness standard and then not do it. Although I routinely sit behind a desk 8 hours a day, I know that if I were to get out on the street and have to do the job as the normal cops do, that I can do that job. And since we've implemented this program, I've been involved in several foot pursuits where I've actually caught the suspect. So that's a big self-confidence boost to myself, knowing that that I can basically get out there and do the job that I was originally sworn to do.
Well, from the beginning, the chief made it clear that he wanted to implement a fitness policy, and one of the things that he did was he made everybody aware of it and then gave us a sufficient amount of time to prepare. He was very specific with what the expectations were, what was needed to complete the test and what was to be considered successful or passing. And we were also provided opportunities with ECU, East Carolina University's Fitness Center. We're allowed opportunities to work out on duty an hour a day.
There's actually a number of things to consider from a legal standpoint in terms of not only the validation of the test to make sure it measures job function, but also looking at the legal ramifications of the Americans with Disabilities Act and also looking at Title VII of the Civil Rights Act to make sure that what we're doing is legal and to make sure that we are embracing our employees' rights and making sure that we're not asking them to do anything that's not directly related to job performance, and we make sure that they're treated in a fair and consistent manner.
So when thinking about looking at any sworn law enforcement officer's job description, you want to make sure that their essential functions are going to include the job duties that you're essentially assessing through the POPAT. So for instance, when you say that the POPAT is a requirement of the job, it's not so much that mandating the POPAT is a requirement of the job, it's that you are using the POPAT to assess requirements of the job. So when you're looking at the job description, it's not that you want to put that the POPAT is an essential function of the job, it's what you're assessing in the POPAT that's an essential function of the job. So something such as making an arrest, because if you think about it, when making an arrest, hopefully things are going to go your way, but it may be that you end up getting into a physical altercation with someone who may be resisting, having to chase down a suspect. And so what the POPAT does is allows you to assess those essential functions of the job, because the state has recognized that the POPAT does assimilate the different types of physical altercations you may come into. So being able to identify those particular job duties in the essential functions of the job description will help you later, if you're challenged, determine or be able to justify why you actually have the POPAT in place as a way to assess those job functions.
The POPAT itself is not necessarily a fitness test, it is a job task test, and I think it goes a long way to being confident that the officers are in the kind of shape they need to be in to perform the duties of the police officer.
I think the only disagreements we had was what's a push-up or what's a sit-up? You know, what were we going to count? And the chief came up with the standard of how it would be done in one person. That one person, Sergeant Crawford, is the one who counts everybody's. And that way you have a standard. When he looks at every single person that goes through there, that one person, if it's counted wrong, that one person counted everybody's wrong. And I think that's a great way to do it. We had a little bit of a disagreement on certain days, and people are hot and sweaty and you're not counting their push-ups, so it's kind of hard to keep peace when somebody's tired and you keep telling them to keep going and they think they're accomplishing a goal. So now we have that standard. I think now we're at a good point.
In regards to employment law that we mentioned earlier and how that could affect policies and things like that, again, getting the HR department involved on the front end will be good. Different leave policies, also the Americans with Disabilities Act, family medical leave, all those different kinds of policies and laws that are in place are things you need to consider when you are implementing a program like this. So being able to use your Human Resources Department as a resource can really provide some valuable tools to you to help you navigate through some of those obstacles.
We can't do this in a bubble of the police department, first and foremost. We're part of the town, and we want to make sure that what we're doing not only is consistent and fair for our employees, but is legal and is the right thing to do. So we made sure that we talked with those that would have good opinions on that, and then we also involved not only folks from the legal side and from HR, but we also involved our employees in helping us to determine what's the appropriate test to use, what are the times to set, how long do we use from implementation. So in that sense of looking out for everyone, we made sure that we had ample time to give people sort of the heads up as to what was coming and when it was coming and what it would be and how they could best prepare themselves for it.
You know, we tried this 15 plus years ago, and it kind of went to the wayside. And I think when we started this program, we tried to cover all the bases. We met with all the stakeholders involved. We met with those employees who knew they couldn't do it. We met with those who were the fitness gurus in the department per se. We met with HR. We met with administration. We consulted employee attorneys just to make sure that we had all those unknowns, you know, met. And I mean, as you implement the program, there are going to be things that come up that you're going to have to go back and readdress. You know, but you know, that's the way it is with any program. You're going to have to sit back, reevaluate, assess, and then make changes.
I'd say initially there was a lot of fear and doubt. Whenever you're taking on something that you're not really accustomed to doing, it's at a certain level, the fear and doubt of I can't do it brought about in certain people the fear that they might fail because of what the repercussions could be down the line of possible termination, and that's real. I believe that was the heavy negative, of course, going out there and doing it, and then actually going through the physical part. It's difficult for some folks that you know, you can see it in their face. It's giving all they got. But on the same side, that same thing that's a negative makes it a positive because now that instills confidence, that instills belief in yourself, belief in what you can accomplish. And once you start to feel that fitness level that you have to attain to keep for the POPAT, you feel more energy, you feel better about what you're doing, more confident about dealing with the people we have to deal with in our job.
I think they gave us, I feel like they gave us plenty of time to prepare. They met with us, told us this is what it's going to be all about. This is what we're going to do. The POPAT was nothing new for me because I have done it, like I said before. So I felt like that was good to give that comfort zone to some people who had never done it or who may be a little older or who may be younger and out of shape.
So in terms of, I think the plan he laid out, he started off talking with Human Resources, talking with the town manager, talking with our legal our legal side, our town attorney, we also have a police attorney, talking with them and laying out, okay, here's kind of my goal and what are the best steps to get there. And so I think patience, laying out a clear plan, and then continually working the plan, revise the plan as you need to as you're working through it. I think one of the elements of success was being patient with that and not forcing officers to go through the process too quickly, giving plenty of time, giving people clear milestones and clear targets to meet, and then working with them to get to those goals.
So we've had what I think is very good success in terms of people responding to this, and maybe even some unexpected success in terms of not only folks and their personal fitness levels, which is going to help them now in terms of their job and in officer safety and professionalism, but also in the long-term post-career, and that ideally they'll have a longer life after police work, and that maybe the stress won't be as much and they'll be in better shape to survive that and enjoy after their career. And then also we've seen a lot of interesting competition, individual competitions, competing within groups, some of our platoons competing against one another, that it's really helped in terms of the camaraderie and in terms of motivating across the department.
I'm actually just kind of thankful that it was put into place, just because I used to be extremely physically fit. Then I went to college and I'd play softball all through college, but nothing like, not on the college team, on intramurals. And played softball here with the police department, but, then I had a child, and then I was off of patrol into investigations, doing more of a sitting than I was out and about, and just gained more weight, got more out of shape, and this program being implemented really motivated me to get back on track, and I'm still trying to get even more in shape. And I have since gotten off diabetes medicine. I used to have a CPAP, I had sleep apnea. I don't sleep with that anymore. And again, I guess the biggest thing is just my son, who's almost 8, it's great to be able to run, and he used to always beat me, and now I actually let him beat me. And that didn't happen before. Sergeant Weaver really motivated me and helped me and encouraged, not push, encouraged. No, she was really good, and I really thank her, and I do thank the chief, because I feel like I might still be in the same, if it wasn't for this, I probably wouldn't be as motivated to get in shape and all that. My health has gotten better, and I've gotten more physically fit.
And then I heard here at the department they were coming up with a new fitness policy thing, and at that moment I knew I needed to make a choice. I said, if you're in to do this job for life, you need to get serious about your physical fitness and work on that. So using the policy they had here, I started exercising more. They allow us to exercise at work 1 hour every day. I went to nutritionists several times, provided from the town, to kind of learn how to eat better and stuff like that. Went to East Carolina University on multiple occasions, going through their assessment center, talking to doctors, just doing treadmill tests, just trying to get a better evaluation of where I'm at. I feel much better. I wish I had made a decision long ago to do this. I mean, before, I always felt I could do the job as good as anybody else, but I admit there were some things that some officers could do better than I could. I could do the same job, they could do it better, but now with the weight I've lost and just feeling better, everything's a lot easier. I used to, when I climb a flight of stairs now, I don't get out of breath and get to the top of it, or even 2 flights of stairs. I just overall, I've got more energy, my motivation is different, I'm just upbeat, and other people have noticed it too. Just a different person about me, and it's made me overall a better and happier person in life, so I'm really thankful for that.
As far as the confidence level, I think that like when you're dealing with somebody out on the street, like they're going to look at you and they're going to judge you by how you dress, how you carry yourself. If you sweat to bend over and tie your shoe, like they're going to notice, they're going to pick up on stuff like that. So I think that as far as, having a fitness policy, continuing to work out and caring about your self-image is going to boost your confidence, because people are going to look at you and say, oh, they're squared away. Like, I'm not going to fight them. They look like they can handle their own. And I think that seeing other officers around the agency care about their physical appearance, their fitness as well, I think it's going to put pressure on those who aren't doing that to strive to do that, and I think that's good.
Well, I think as the chief shared his interest in this when he first pitched it to me, he talked about when he was a patrol officer back in Virginia. It always bothered him that there were fellow patrol officers who weren't in shape and couldn't properly back him up, or couldn't pursue a suspect, maybe would have more injuries, back injuries and the like. And I think he made a vow to himself at that point, if I ever become police chief, I'm gonna try to make my department as fit as I can. And so when he presented that idea to me, and you realize that idea comes from the heart, and then he developed a good plan to get there, it's certainly something that I could support, and certainly something I wanted to see happen. We're proud of what the police department's accomplished here in Garner. It's a win-win all the way around. So we have healthier officers, which leads to better service for our citizens. It leads to reduced cost in terms of health insurance, in terms of workers' comp claims, and it's a win-win all the way around.
Very encouraged by the results we've seen to date. We've seen dramatic individual improvement. We've seen collective improvement as a police department. This is something that we'll support going forward. We think it's important on an individual and a collective level. It's part of who we are, and it will help each of us and us collectively as the Garner Police Department to do a better job to maintain our values of commitment, integrity, and professionalism, and certainly to provide service to the Garner community in a manner they deserve.
Now let's watch a segment explaining why the I-40-440 rebuild project known as Fortified is needed and why it will improve mobility around the triangle.
The North Carolina Department of Transportation is working to fortify two of the Triangle's busiest roads as part of a 10-year plan to reduce congestion and enhance mobility throughout the area. So, what is Fortify? Crews must rebuild an 11.5-mile stretch of I-40 and 440, a section referred to as the Smile of the Beltline. The project is first and foremost about safety. The 30-year-old pavement is cracking and crumbling because of a chemical reaction happening beneath the road triggered by a substance used in paving several decades ago.
So because they have deteriorated, we need to remove it completely and get rid of the chemical reaction that is still occurring today, and then replace it with new pavement.
More than 100,000 vehicles travel on this weakened section every day, and this project will have an impact on traffic. The first phase, involving 440, begins this fall. Crews will replace the section from the 40-440 interchange, known as the 40 split, to just north of the 264 Knightdale bypass. Phase 2 begins by late 2014, when crews will replace the pavement from west of Jones Franklin Road all the way to just east of the 40 split. The entire project is scheduled to wrap up by fall of 2016.
We're going to have to go through this, and I wanted to go through it by working with the community, working with the mayors of all the impacted towns, making sure everybody understood the impact that was coming their way, and doing this in a very deliberate way where we phase it. So we fix one, we fix the 440 portion, then we fix the 40 portion.
To help, NCDOT is working with the contractor, Granite Construction Company, to keep 3 lanes open in both directions for most of the project, the entire 40 rebuild. The goal is still to get at least 30,000 cars off the road during heavy commute times. NCDOT is investing an additional $12 million in public transportation. The department is partnering with Triangle Transit to add more buses and routes and identify new park and ride options in and around the Triangle. We're also working with education, healthcare, and business partners as they identify alternative schedules and work locations to help reduce commuter traffic. The project is not just about rebuilding a road, it's about fortifying a community. NCDOT has created a website to connect you with comprehensive information, including how and where to catch the bus, project maps, and links to live traffic cameras through WRAL. There you will find links to Twitter, Facebook, and other social media to stay engaged with NCDOT and other commuters. There's even a Top 40 playlist featuring jams to get you through the traffic. To connect, visit www.fortifync.com.
Thanks for watching Around Town. Just a reminder that all GTV 11 productions, including Town Council meetings, can be watched on demand at garnernc.gov. I'm Rick Mercer, and I'll see you around town.